everybody. I'm Sandy, the Chief Compassion Officer of Compassionate California, and I'm standing outside of the California Institution for Women's Prison with Reverend Shayna Jean Lester, who is a chaplain here, who brought them the Compassion Games. Shayna, will you tell everybody about the games here?
I'd love to, and actually I'm the lead volunteer chaplain of the Jewish community here. The games were introduced to me, and I said this is a perfect thing to bring to the California Institution for Women, which, by the way, is in Corona, California. And so I pitched it to one of the assistants to the warden, and everybody went for it. The warden went for it and completely supported it. So from September 11th through September 21st, what we did was have a co-opetition between the 8 housing units here on this campus, the California Institution for Women's campus. And the women during that time just did a remarkable job. We recorded many of the acts of loving kindness that were performed during that 10-day period, and they had over 4,600 recorded acts of loving kindness. There were many that were not recorded due to various reasons. Some people just felt humble and didn't wish to write it down. Some people felt that writing it down was just against their religion, and there were different reasons that people didn't write it down. They just said, I'm doing what I like to do and I'm not going to write it down. So there probably were maybe 1,000 more, maybe 2,000 more acts of loving kindness. We don't know exactly, but 4,600, a little over 4,600 recorded.
What would you say was the most measurable result from the games?
What I have heard from some of the women and is that the largest thing to come out of the games is that there was absolutely no violence here at the prison during that 10-day period. And by the way, I do want to add, this is a first ever in a prison. It's never been done before. The administration and the women are really looking forward to doing the games next year from September 11th through the 21st. However, there is a movement to continue the games on a 3-month basis here, and we'll see whether that happens. We really would like it to happen. Many have been working towards motivating the women to continue with these acts of loving kindness, these compassionate acts, and I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. Some of the things that occurred during this week, this 10-day period, are many women fed other women. One of the things in prison is that people are hungry. So some people are able to have extra food because they have the money to buy food at the commissary. And so those people fed other people, gave them extra food during that 10-day period, sweets, things they don't normally get. There were a lot of hugs. A lot of people said hello and greeted people that they don't necessarily like. I heard about 2 women that were going to begin a fight, and they were reminded that we were in Compassion Games Week, and they stopped and didn't even attempt it for the rest of the week. I understand that there is less violence here. There has been no violence during this 10-day period, and that's pretty unheard of, that people just stopped fighting. Really wonderful. Some of the women told me that their units are kinder, calmer, more joyful, more considerate, more compassionate. Of the 8 living units, I would say that 5 or 6 really contributed a lot to the games. They racked up high points. And one unit actually racked up over 1,800 points. One unit over 800 points. Then it went down to 500 and some odd, 400 and some odd, and 300, 200, and then one unit maybe 100 points.
And Shayna, it actually bears repeating, because this is really powerful, that the Compassion Games, which ended on the United Nations International Day of Peace and Nonviolence, and it resulted in the games inspiring women to practice absolute nonviolence. And I heard also from many of the inmates that, or residents, that this is the first time in the history of CIW that there has been so many days of nonviolence.
That is absolutely incredible. I am so proud of the women here. We have about, I'd say, close to 2,000 women here. I am so proud of the women for joining in these games and hopefully continuing this practice. I know that during this time we formed a compassionate city. I say compassionate city with quotes around it. I'm not sure it can be a compassionate city on the outside, but within the walls of a prison. And like I said, this is the first time anything like this has ever happened in a prison.
We owe this woman all of our deepest bows and gratitude for hearing about the games in our Los Angeles Compassion meeting that Rebecca, Tobias, and I hosted. We just dropped the seed, and you never know how many apples are going to be in a seed. And Shayna just planted a full orchard. So who's to say where this is going to go? But it is really an honor to introduce you all to this beautiful woman and an absolute compassionista. Thank you all.